If you're not doing this one thing in your marriage on a regular basis, you're likely undermining it. Before I tell you what that is, hey friends, Morella here. I'm a certified life coach helping you improve the 3 most important relationships you'll ever have. That's the relationship with your spouse, the one with your family, and the relationship that you have with yourself. My passion is to inspire deeper thinking and to share with you life coaching tips that can help you in everyday life. So if you're new to my channel, consider subscribing. Now let's jump into tip number 9 of 10 things for a stronger marriage. And tip number 9 focuses on forgiveness in marriage, this idea of forgiveness. And I'm not just talking about the big things. I'm talking about the little things, the things that happen on a daily basis, on a regular basis. And those things can easily stack up over time if we're not careful and if we're not in the habit of forgiving each other. The truth is that you can have the healthiest, most well-meaning, loving people coming together in a relationship, but it doesn't mean that relationship won't have challenges because they involve people. And wherever there's people, there are problems. Wherever there's coupling, there's conflict. And that's just a fact. Let's talk about what happens over time in a marriage. So we start off as a team, right? Well, we actually start off 2 people that come together to form a team. And I talk all about that in one of my videos. I'm going to link that in case that you missed it. So you start together as a team. And every time that there's an argument or a disagreement, or you're mad about something, or you have hurt feelings about something, your needs aren't being met, you're naturally causing a rift or a tear. There's a separation that naturally is happening. And what happens over time, if you're not careful, you can be creating these gaps and this distancing between you if you're not in the habit of forgiving each other and coming back together. It's important that we become intentional about doing what's needed to bring us back together and not just to sweep things under the rug. What you sweep under the rug today doesn't just go away. It doesn't disappear. You're essentially putting off what needs to be addressed in this moment. Keep in mind that with any small rift between you, it's not like you're just sitting idly by with nothing happening. Unless you are being intentional and doing something on purpose, naturally things are building up inside of you, and it's taking on the form of bitterness, of contempt, of anger, of wanting payback, of wanting revenge on your partner. And these aren't good things. This is what naturally breeds in those gaps. And whatever takes root in your heart is going to grow. These are powerful emotions. And so we can't just turn a blind eye to it. We have to know that this is naturally happening if we're not addressing our partner, if we're not in a constant state of forgiveness. So how do we prevent all of this? We must reconcile on a regular basis. There should be a natural coming together. And how do we come back together? It's through forgiveness. And that's the bottom line. It's one of those things nobody ever told me about before marriage. It's something that I learned over time. If you want to have a healthy and thriving relationship, you gotta be in the habit of forgiving each other on a regular basis. And this isn't easy. I am not saying that this is easy, but when you see there's value in it, there's value in forgiveness, only then can you make the choice and you can decide to be led by that choice to forgive. If you're in a season of life right now, in the season of relationship where you feel a little distant from your partner or cold, could it be that there are issues that have gone unaddressed, unforgiven? Could that be what is standing between the 2 of you right now? It is not easy. It's actually quite the opposite. It's hard and it's a challenge, but it's a choice that we can make to release our partner from this natural separation. It's a choice we make to be in constant communication with each other about the little things, talking about these things in an honest and loving way. It's so much easier to go to your opposite corners, right? And to hold a grudge and to replay in your mind why you're right and they're wrong. And all those things might feel good in the moment, but it doesn't actually bridge anything. It doesn't bring the 2 of you together. You're no longer working as a team. You're working as opponents. So here's 2 things that might help you in this area of forgiveness. See your significant other as human. He's got emotions too. He can have a bad day too. He's going to say some things that he doesn't really mean. He might be overwhelmed. He might be tired. It might be hormones. Wait, I think that's just us. And the second thing is to own your part in the conflict. Whatever it is that you said or you did, there is so much freedom in just owning your part and taking responsibility for it for the sake of bringing you back together and bridging that gap. The truth is, just like it takes 2 to tango, it takes 2 to argue, and it takes 2 to reconcile. Full reconciliation requires one person to be willing to forgive and the other person to be mature enough and humble enough to own their part and to ask for forgiveness. And when we can make that a habit, that's where the beauty happens. That's where the magic is. When there's been conflict, there's a reconnection that needs to take place. And we do that by spending more time learning from our mistakes rather than denying them or defending them. You can say things like, I love you and I appreciate you. And I know right now you want to be seen and heard, and I want to be seen and heard. Maybe you say, that's hurtful. Let's not talk to each other that way. Or, we're going to figure this out. I don't know how, but we're going to figure it out because we're a team and I love you. My final thought is this. This is what I want to leave you with. If you want a happy, fulfilling marriage, forgiveness is a much needed practice. We need to learn to do it on purpose for the sake of the marriage, for the sake of the bigger picture and this vision that we have for each other, this vision that we agreed to when we first married. Your marriage is worth fighting for, but it's going to take our values leading our decision making, not our feelings, but our values. And now it's your turn. Do you have trouble forgiving those little things, those nagging things that happen on a regular basis that build up over time? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please leave me a comment below. Like this video if you did, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will connect with you next time.